Hey everyone, welcome back to the App Maker for Jira introductory series. We're going to be going over the basics today to show you how to create first app, how to update that app, and then how to remove that app from the UI. First up, though, you need to know how to install your app into your Jira instance. So head over to the Atlassian Marketplace for link for App Maker for Jira using that documentation. And from the Atlassian Marketplace link, you will be able to install App Maker for Jira. So from this page, you'll have the try it free button, which you can click to initiate the install. And once you've installed the app, you're ready to go. Once you've installed the app, you're ready to create your first actual app in App Maker. So to do that, you're going to need to go to the App Maker for Jira settings page in your Jira site. And to do that, you're also going to need to have admin access on your Jira instance. So to get to the App Maker for Jira settings, you're going to hit the cog icon up here. Then you're going to go down to Apps, you know, across to Custom Apps, and it will load up on the page. Once it's loaded up, you're going to land on the UI components area, which is where you create and manage all the UI components that your app has. Yours will be empty when you come into this page. It won't have this list of things here. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit New, and you have on this page. You'll see here, this is now loaded you into the UI component editor. And we have a basic sort of template component that we pre-populate here for you just to give you something to start with so you're not starting from a blank canvas, and that way it's much easier for you to get started. Taking a look at the UI component, on the left, you have this JSON editor, and on the right, you have a live preview of what the app is actually going to look like. Now, where you can see in real time as you create the app in the JSON, what it's going to show in the UI that you're building. Now, in the UI editor on the left, what we're going to do is we're going to grab some a component that I've actually created in our documentation and paste in here. And this code for this is all available in the documentation, which you should be ideally reading while you are watching this video, because it should be on the same page down below. So I'm going to paste that in here. It lets me, but it's not going to let me. Sorry. Copy that. Go here. Delete that and then paste. There we go. So what we just copied from our documentation is, for example, JSON, which is designed to help us create a component. Now, you'll notice a few things here. One is there's an error below the JSON editor. So what we want to do is we're going to show you how the error process works. So as you create your components and your UI components and any other part of App Maker for Jira, we will be validating those things in real time. And we'll tell you if there's anything wrong with them. We'll show an error down here, which you can then use to help debug your components or other parts of your app relatively easily. Now, you might notice that this is pretty hard to read, so trying to debug it like this is going to be pretty difficult. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to tidy this up and make it a bit easier to read. So we're going to hit this format button up there. So the format button was going to reformat your JSON into a structure that's much, much easier to read. So you don't have to worry about sort of going through and figuring it all out. Just note that in some situations, if you have like syntax errors in your JSON, it may not be able to format the JSON because the formatter won't know how to do it. So you do need to have valid JSON, but it doesn't need to be masking to the App Maker structure. All right, so it says here, error, property action is required on the UI update object. So what does that mean? Well, the UI update object is this thing here, basically in the UI editor. So let's say there's a property required on this top level object, which is UI update, called action. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add property action to this. And then I'm going to add that there. Cool. All right, now I'm still saying there's an error. That's because we haven't actually added an action in here. So the possible actions you can add for a UI update are set and delete. Now, obviously, we're trying to create a UI component, so we're going to make this state. Now, when you're creating UI components yourself, you don't actually have to worry about this, because when you create a new UI component, that basic one, the template one that we added in automatically, will have this set for you, and you won't have to think about it too much. We're just trying to show you here how the error system works. It tells you what you need to change and then how to sort of work through those errors as you go. All right, so you've added this in, you've created that, you've fixed the error, and you formatted your JSON. And you can see here now on the right that your app is now, example of your app is now rendering. So you can see here this app name is coming from this section here. Then my first app is coming from this section here. I'm up this, and then overall, my first app is coming from this section here. And this is arranged using a component called a stacked information group, because you can see it's information and it's stacked on top of each other. In the next video, we'll be going over what's next in this process. For now, we're just going to hit save, and you'll see here now it's available there. Hey everyone, welcome back to our introductory series for App Maker for Jira. We're going to be continuing on with creating our first app in the tool. So from the previous video, you should have your first app already created. You should have a UI component created in the system. And if I see here under the module section of this table, it'll say here that this component is created using the Jira issue context module. Now, module is the wording that's used in all Atlassian products for where to show UI components or UI extensions that have been built using the Atlassian extensibility tooling. And so Jira issue context specifically is basically the sidebar panel on a Jira issue. So if I go up to here and I open up our test project, and I close the pop-up and I open up one of the issues, you'll see here on the sidebar, this is the issue context panel. And down here, you'll see this custom apps section here. So custom apps gets rendered by our app, and any UI components that you have rendered in the issue context module will show up as a list here. And you can see here that the app you created in the previous video with the stacked information group, the My First App title, the app name, and the My First App sort of value there is now all visible. And this is the same as what you would see if you went back to the settings section and you edited thing, you'd see it's the same. Now, it does look exactly the same because when it's rendered in the UI, there's some extra sort of like wrapping around it, but the content is exactly the same here. So it's the heading, and then it's the sort of the key and the value that you show from before. All right, excellent. So we know that's all working. We know that it's now showing in the UI. Congratulations, you have created your first very, very basic app in Jira using App Maker for Jira. All right, so now that you've finished creating your app, we want to go and change it. We want to make some updates to it. So to do that, we're going to go back to the settings page up here. And we're going to go to custom apps again. And we're going to go and we're going to hit edit on the table here. And this will open up the editor. And you can see here on the left, you have the JSON for the UI component. And on the right, you have the sort of the preview of the UI component itself. So this is going to load up the editor. And then we want to add a second field to this stacked information group because we want to show some more information. So to do that, we're going to look through here. And you see here that the stacked information group component is this section there. And you can see here it has this children, and then it's a list. You know it's a list because it has these square brackets. So if they're curly brackets, it's a single item. It's what's called an object. If they're square brackets, it's a list of things. And so in here, we're going to add another object, another one of these fields, so that we can have a second piece of data on there. So we're going to add a comma, so they can add another item. Going to add curly braces, and you'll see here that our editor automatically closes the curly braces for you, and it will automatically sort of format the text to make it easy to read for you. And I'm going to add a type of field value, like what we have in the first one. I'm going to add key, which is kind of like the name of the field. I'll just say field 2, and I'm going to add a value of value 2, just for the sake of the example. And now I'm going to hit save, and that's now updated. So now if I go back to the Jira issue and load this, you can see here now we have field app name, Microsoft, field 2, value 2, which we just created there, and it's now updated instantly in the Jira issue. So you can see here just how quick and easy it is to go and update the apps you create to add new stuff into the UI. Now, again, obviously, these are very, very simple and very basic. But as we work through these tutorials, you're going to incrementally build up to more complex and more powerful applications. But the idea here is to show you just how quick and easy it is to go and make changes to these apps so that you can adapt them to what you need at each point in time. All right, so continuing on. So we've created our first very basic app. We've also now updated our first basic app. So the last thing we want to do, obviously, is we want to delete that app because we don't want this sort of basic little static app hanging around forever. And obviously, it's very important to know how to delete an app once you've created one. So to delete an app is very simple. You should just go to the app settings. So again, it's the cog icon up here, then apps, and then custom apps in the sidebar. And then you find the UI component that you want to remove and you hit delete. And that's it. It's done. So very, very simple to get rid of UI components that you no longer want. The important thing to note here is obviously you do need administrator access to the Jira site because this screen is only available from the Jira site admin settings. So not anyone can just go in and delete apps. Only administrators for the Jira site can do that. All right, congratulations. You've now created an app, you've updated an app, and you have deleted an app. You've done all of the basics. You now know how to use the very, 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 very basic parts of AppMaker for Jira. You can see here on the top, there's plenty of other components, and the system is much more powerful than what we've shown you to here. So don't worry, this is not everything, but we want to try and ease you into things slowly so that you know how to build things up incrementally. So next steps that we are going to go and start building some more complicated apps that are going to have things like multiple components, new modules, and they're going to start building in some dynamic content. The dynamic content is very important because that's how you turn your sort of static, just makes it a little text widget into an actual app, which actually can be responsive, it can be dynamic, and can have real-time sort of interactions and things like that. All right, so stay tuned, and we'll see you all in the next video.